this war stops now.
You are tired of the war. I can see on your face.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Stop and Listen podcast. I am your host, Jamie. This is a busy news day. Lots of little things going on that not everyone's talking about. So in the news, Ukraine moves to legalize medical marijuana to help treat trauma of war. Okay, I get it. It's just odd timing and Biden just wiped away everyone's charges for marijuana, like federal marijuana charges for like if you're on federal property. But it's still federally illegal here for some reason. But Ukraine, in the middle of a war defending itself, it's like, all right, let's legalize weed. All right, that's cool. So in election news or fake news, Trump rails after poll shows Haley within 4 points in New Hampshire. That's troublesome if you're on the Trump side for sure. She could get a lot of momentum if she squeezes that one out. And that was just published today, a couple hours ago. Yesterday, Breitbart posted Nikki Haley trails by 30 points in New Hampshire. So, which one do you believe? How about neither? We have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea. So this is actually, I took the day off today, and there's so much going on. I'm going to pump out several episodes, I think, today. It's actually daytime. I took the day off and got everything I needed done. This is my first daytime podcast. So I'm sipping some delicious brew of coffee. So from the Huffington Post, this country is responsible for less than 1% of global emissions. Climate change is tearing it apart anyway. Well, the screens are tearing us apart. The screens are convincing a lot of naive people that there's a problem that doesn't really exist. Now we should take care of our planet and we should move to nuclear. Thorium reactors work just as good as nuclear reactors for energy, but they cannot be produced to make nuclear bombs. I've heard several times over the last month or so. Let's do that. And the radiation apparently isn't nearly as bad as well. So let's do that, and then drill, baby, drill. When appropriate, let's use up the oil what God gave us, and be independent. Let's get energy prices to be almost free for the citizen. That would be great. So what this article says, some nice people. I'm not going to take a wild guess at because that would be extremely ignorant to me. Mongolian. I was going to say Mongolian. Sant Mongolia. Davidali Gangor, 41, tried feeding his family exactly as his ancestor had for thousands of years. Traveling the central grasslands of the Asian steppe, never seen that word before, herding sheep and goats for dairy and wool. It didn't work. He did everything as he was taught to do. He grazed his animals on land that his family has relied on as far back as anyone can trace. He lived humbly in a gur, the octagon tent, sometimes called a yurt in English, or a tent in English, as aforementioned before, in which Mongolian nomads traditionally live, with a herd well within the government's recommended limit to avoid competing livestock devouring all the grass. He piously maintained a Buddhist shrine. The most vibrant item he owned was a handmade snuff bottle containing a fragrant, snortable tobacco. See, this is a cycle. If we are going to have human flourishing, things change. It doesn't mean we shouldn't stop them from changing. We need to preserve things. That dirty word conservative, that includes our culture, that includes our planet, everything. we should be thankful for what God gave us. This is a very long article. Communists took power in Ulaanbaatar and massacred Buddhist priests deemed enemies of Marxism. The country became a satellite of the Soviet Union, which discouraged its little brother from ever attempting to regain control over Inner Mongolia, the Chinese province with more ethnic Mongols than Mongolian itself. Oh, capitalism. Here we go. The embrace of capitalism heralded a new era of on the steep, a stretch of this planet that, after hours on the highway out of Ulaanbaatar, looks unchanged by time. So yeah, it's certainly possible that human development interrupted the flow of nature and it throws things off. That's always happened, whether we were really responsible or not. This is an incredibly long story. See, I worked with a guy. It was all one day. It was summertime, I think. He's just like, I can just feel it. What? Climate change. You're serious. It felt different than last year. And he was full of shit, of course. It's something. It'll become more fertile if there's slight climate change. Some people may have to move. The north, towards the poles, will get more fertile. The fertile land will change, and since it's never been cultivated, it will probably be super. So if the more northern land or southern land, depending on which hemisphere you're in, became more fertile, the closer to the poles you got, it would probably be super fertile because it probably hasn't been, obviously farmed ever. That would be a benefit. Some people might have to move, as we said. As I said, I don't know why I say that we. Just be thankful. That should be our global warming policy. Be as individuals, be thankful. Try to litter. And it's so difficult. Like, I go through so many plastic bottles, and it disgusts me. I don't freak out about it like a lot of people do, but I still don't like it. That's where the alternatives really need to come from. And that may not even be having a real big impact. You dig holes, you put the trash in it, you put the dirt over top of it, it compacts in thousands of years. I don't know, maybe it'll turn into something new. We don't know. It'll be underground. Do it as far away from populations as possible. I don't know what else we should do. I'm kind of just rambling because I didn't look into the story at all before I started reading it. And I'm not going to be able to get to conclusions. How does it end? Bet Dulam sighed. We are not starving, she said. But if we have to start buying all the products city people and settled people buy, we would be ruined. And it sucks. Yeah. I wish I could be. I'm in an apartment recording right now. In hindsight, I wish I would have made some moves and been sitting on some land right now. But I kicked the ball down the road, and when I went back to get it, I went and grabbed the ball and put it out of reach, almost. So, according to Al Jazeera, that fantastic network, giving us hard-hitting reporting on the Israeli-Hamas conflict that is obviously very detailed. A 70-year-old Ugandan woman has become one of the world's oldest moms after she underwent fertility treatment and gave birth to twins.
abalongo nasituuka wano nga basooka okunkeberera ne bagamba nti nnyina abalongo nawulira essanyu nga ppitirivu era ndukuzizza olubuto nga ndi mu ssanyu.
I mean, so does that mean fertilized egg inserted in her? I mean, she not. I suppose what that means is she was just a vessel. Is that what the case is? So hope is not dead for me. Is what I'm getting out of this.
Came back
a 70-year-old woman
to us this beginning of this year, wishing to have more children. I accepted, and we implanted 2 embryos, and then we have come babies that we see now.
It's always a great thing when new lives are brought into this world,
we had treated her
and
with
we will see if those children have any troubles
3 years ago, and she
later on
conceived and
based on how
gave birth
they
to
were
a
brought
girl.
into this world. But I guess we should
The age
celebrate.
is just a number.
Age is
A
just
young
a number. I you know, that's going to come up later. Actually, right now, I'm going to switch things around. Age is just a number. Taraji Henson, she was in Hustle and Flow. That's the only thing I've ever seen her in. She says the math ain't mathing. On pay equity in entertainment. I did not notice that word when I pulled this story. I just was going to make fun of her for saying the math isn't mathing. If she started speaking about some cultural issues or global warming because she's some actress, people would listen to her more than a garbage man or a electrician or a factory worker because she's appears on screens. She's an actress. That's what she does. That does not make them qualified to give opinions about other things. And pay equity. I do want to check out this story, but I've got like pop-up blocker and it won't let me visit the site. But Taraji Henson, the math ain't mathing. For pay equity. Look at stand-up comedy. There are a few funny female comedians as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot more that aren't funny, but they're out there. But the vast majority, the ones that are successful, are men. Obviously, athletes, men. Music, men. I mean, and that's a little bit genre specific. That obviously is going to affect on when you portray life. You're going to have the man leading the story, typically, and not always. There's some great female-led stories. Jennifer Lopez is Jennifer Lawrence is a great actress, and she's put several great movies out that she's the lead of. More oftentimes than not, yes, it's going to be the male in the lead because that's what the part entails, and they're going to get paid more for it. Now, the math ain't mathing in modeling. I just seen a story the other day that the richest, the most well paid male model brings in less than $2 million a year, and the females are like tens of millions. Back to the music though. Also, I think there is more. I think there are more male musicians and groups, so forth, but it seems like the females though are more hyper successful. I mean, of course, Taylor Swift is the biggest in the world. I'm just shouldn't say that because I really don't know what the other rest of the world thinks. She's the biggest here, and thus pretty much the world. So I mean, Beyonce before her, and I don't know. It seems like there hasn't been many males that have really captured what some of the female artists have quite done. I mean, there's been some close, but so that's all I got for today. I will see you next time. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment, do all the things. James Jost at Stop and Listen Pod on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I will see you next time.